what we see around us, we don't believe that because we want to buy into standards.
We have to prove that we're good fathers. When, as far as the mothers, it's just assumed.
So I'll wait on the check. I'll keep my self-respect first.
I'm a black man trying to save a black man, and I noticed as I looked around the whole room, there's no one helping me.
The reality is, if it affects you, it affects me.
Joining us today is Mr. Joel Austin of Daddy University, an organization which teaches young men how to be better fathers. Dr. John Taylor, educator and single father of 3 boys, and Mr. Kenny Walker, Jr., poet and father of 3 girls. Welcome, gentlemen. So let's start with Joel. Tell us about Daddy University and how it was started.
Daddy University is the oldest male parenting education company in the United States as we know it. We started 15 years ago. We've been educating fathers of all ages and stages and races for the last 15 years. It started because when I had my son, I felt as though I didn't know as much as I wanted to know. And I couldn't find everything I wanted to know in one place. I wanted to say the company was a stroke of genius, but actually I was just angry that I couldn't find what I wanted to find to be a better father. So I invented what I couldn't find. Our website has everything from ages and stages from 0 to 18. We hold fatherhood groups around the city, and we do trainings with DHS and school districts on how to better engage male parents into the school systems and social service.
Wow, that is amazing. 3 real men are up here with me today. So did you take on the task of researching and reaching out for mentorship yourself to get the information that you needed to, to compile together to then in turn help others? Is that how you did it?
I went to trainings, definitely a lot of research online, but a lot of the research I wanted to find out with my infant was on a lot of motherhood sites. And I kept hearing this word maternal, 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 and I couldn't find the word paternal. It is not that we do things less, we just do things a different way. So I wanted to create something where this is the way you do it. I didn't need books and books, I needed a top 10 list. We created simplicity to give fathers something that actually the United States wasn't and hasn't been for years.
Wow.
Amen.
It's called inclusion.
Amen.
Kenny and John, how did the two of you become the custodial parent of your children?
Well, I actually had to fight for it. I had to go to court several times, and I was determined to not just be in my kid's life, but be in control of my son's life. I want to be the replica. I wanted to be the example of fatherhood for them. I wanted to show them and prune them for manhood, not have someone else do it. I've heard horror stories. I mean, I hang out in several bars and listen to guys' stories, and I said to myself, I am not going to be that dude. There's no way.
Do you hear a lot of men that didn't have their father?
Yeah.
And that they
I didn't
don't
have my
feel they were
father.
able to be taught. Okay, I was going to ask you that.
I didn't
Okay.
have my father. My father was gone by the time I turned 5. But I had a good uncle, and Yahweh is perfect.
That's right.
He teaches all, and all you gotta do is lean onto his understanding and not your own.
That's right.
And you'll be okay. So pretty much, the maternal instinct of a woman kicked in for me as a paternal instinct when I realized, oh, I gotta do this alone. So I have to be a nurturer. I have to be a disciplinarian, all together. And to me, it's no different than any male or any female raising a child. You're gonna have to be a parent. You're gonna have to, change the diaper or two, potty train, you get a bottle, warm it up. You gotta learn all this stuff. That's not a woman's job. That's a parent's job.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I am not, I share custody with my children's mother, but for the first 3 years, we were married and got divorced. For the first 3 years, my girls stayed with me 6-7 days a week and wouldn't, the mom would pick them up for a day and then drop them right back to me. So even though I was supposed, she was supposed to have more time, I kept the girls with me all the time, and we would have a ball together. And to me, it was my job. And it's like John said, you know, it's a parent's job to raise a kid, and it's still my job because my girls are teenagers to show them what a man is and what a good man is, and teach them this, so I don't have to worry about them coming home with any knuckleheads.
Right. How they should be treated.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
So
how they should be
do you
treated.
date your daughters? And when I mean date them, I mean like take them,
Take
you
them
know,
out,
out
yes.
on dates to show
Yes,
them.
my
That's what I mean.
one daughter's, my one daughter. I do a lot of things with my daughters. That I was explaining to you before. I do a lot of activities with them, and for some reason, not only did I become popular with my daughters, I became popular with their friends. So when I drop them all places and take them places, hey, so it's
The cool dad.
yeah, I like to think I am, but my girls bring me down to earth and say, Dad, you're really not that cool. They like you because they think you're funny. But yeah, you know, it's our job, like John said, it's our job to show them it's not a woman's job, it's not a man's job, it's a parent's job to show them, and that's what you do. I mean, I thank God that I've had help in some of the areas, because with girls, I had to learn the hard way that you don't take a girl to Walmart to buy a bra. And
we're
and
gonna
other
go
things
there.
like that. So I had to, luckily I had my mother, my sister, some other female friends, and teach me certain things that I need to know with girls.
Now, John and Joel, are your children's mothers still in their lives? Are they still living and still in their lives?
Yeah, my son's mother, she's still alive, and she's actually remarried and live in Virginia. So the boys are up here with me since 2008.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I'm not
Joel?
just the president, I'm also a client. A lot of the things and issues that I've been going through, I now get a chance to teach other people, so it's had more access. I currently have joint custody of my kids. I have 4 in total, my daughter and 3 sons, biological. And then my stepsons, and then it's a lot of us. But my daughter is totally different, and that daughter love is different, which is in 2009, we started what's now called the Daddy and Daughter Dance. We started with about 30 people, and now we're up to last year about 600. So you have about...
You mean that big dance here in the city?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that. Okay.
Which is weird because you have about 600, 80% African American coming out, but the news coverage doesn't cover the love that we have. You have 8-year-old girls getting out of limousines, some of them that were here tonight, getting out of limousines and being catered, and that has something incredible, which is called self-esteem. So our job, even more so than the moms, is to build self-esteem in girls. We're not putting anything in it because we balance each other. Mothers have a superpower and we have a superpower as well, but self-esteem with me and my daughters is different. Me and my sons, we went to chicken wings, and my daughter goes out to the fanciest restaurant I could find. It's just...
Isn't that always the way?
She knows how to spend that money.
Well, we always said that there's a bunch of cards in the deck, which is like guys, and my job is to show her what the king card looks like.
Right.
Because if not, there's a joker card,
Right.
and I don't want you to bring that one home.
That's right. And I was thinking that when you said the stepping out of the limousine, because that's so key right now at this stage in her life, so that she doesn't later grow up to get involved with that joker, and
We provide
to
standards.
impress her,
Yeah, right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, we provide standards.
Same thing with the boys.
Okay.
Yeah, with
We have
boys
to
as
teach
well.
our sons how to pick the right female.
Yeah.
Okay, we have.
But that's so very serious.
That with
Yes.
my oldest son, and I was like, she's not good for you, bro. Trust me, from experience, because we make mistakes choosing women the wrong way too. That's
So
how I
what
ended
kind of
up in
things?
this
Come on,
mess.
elaborate a little bit and tell me what how the conversation, or what kind of that checklist that you kind of go through with
I didn't
them.
have a checklist. I was just. It was more so like
I had a checklist.
I'm watching.
You did?
Right. I more so was watching the interactions with with my son and her, and I got the vibe like, no, that's not a good choice for a girlfriend. That's not how we do as men when we look for someone to be with.
So here's where I mean when I say that, because and this was a conversation we had early on in the show. A lot of women today who grow into bodies as women are still emotionally and mentally still undeveloped as little girls, and most of the time they have daddy issues, if that makes sense. Daddy wasn't there.
Yes.
So they still have those emotional voids. So now being a father to these boys and having your experience that you've gone through, right? Making, some wrong choices, right? That you've been able to learn through in hindsight now. How do you help them to, that's what I mean by that checklist, to be able to know the things to identify and what she may have going on. I don't know if you want to deal with that, if you could see certain things.
Well, my quickest checklist was when they reach a certain age, you as much as they love you, you can't tell them what to do at a certain age. I mean, you can put the hammer down and all that, but a lot of times they have a lot of free will and a lot of time. So for my daughters and my nieces, by the third date, he needs to meet me. He just needs to come. We need to have a conversation, need to have dinner, because a lion has no problem meeting me, meeting a doctor, but a wolf most likely will never come to
I wish
the
you could
door.
see that wolf on my arm.
For my sons, I want him to ask the question, which is, how is the relationship with you and your father? Because if she says she hates her father, I think I told my son, you should just get the check and leave, because if she can't forgive her father in some way, she definitely not going to forgive the dumb stuff that you do.
And in fact, she may eventually look at him as a substitute, or that, in place of her father,
doesn't go well.
and take,
Transference.
right.
I have a little story about my oldest, who had got involved with someone, and he became sexually active, and I was like, oh God. So I had to deal with this, and the girl responded that she was pregnant. I was like, no, wow, this ain't happening. But come to find out, she played a game with him, and I had to explain to him, this happens. Because normally what we project to the boys is that it's your fault, you the man, you did this. I don't teach my boys that. I teach we are humans. Everybody makes mistakes. Just because she's a female, don't give her a privilege to walk over top of you, say whatever she has to say, and that's final. So we have to work on these things. We have to learn how to communicate. If you don't know how to talk to each other, then you don't need to be dealing with that person. Because I watched something on YouTube one time, and they staged a fight between a girl and a guy. Everybody ran to the rescue of the female. Then they staged a fight where the female was actually the aggressor, and everybody's walking by laughing like, oh, he's getting his butt whipped by his girl. Well, the mindset is that, 9 times out of 10, it's the guy's fault. And we punish guys and we punish men. That the relationship didn't work is your fault. And I've seen a lot of guys heartbroken, devastated over relationships. If a lady asked me one time, she said, where are the single guys at? I said, go to the bars, they all drunk. They right there, there's like 20 of them deep. No woman, no nothing, but they love that basketball and football and that beer.
I think we forget that fathers actually set norms for how you live how our children live the rest of their life. So when I have an argument with my sister, if I have an argument with my girlfriend, and my daughter is watching, my son is watching, and I'm teaching them about the makeup, not just to having an argument, but I'm teaching them this is how people make up. This is how people talk afterwards. And when she and my son get into a relationship, that's their expectation. So if someone is slashing tires and stuff, that goes against what their norm is. So now they start stepping away from that, and hopefully, with maturity, they don't end up with jokers.
You're showing them. You're showing them example of healthy behavior, and communication. So with the co-parenting, right? Because the mothers here are still in their lives, right? In some way, is it a healthy balance? So how do you establish?
See, here's the
you know. Okay.
Here's the thing. See, and just to pick up what Joel was saying too. My ex-wife has a boyfriend that my girls cannot stand. And apparently, according to my one daughter, her and her boyfriend argue sometimes. And because at first I thought, okay, because my ex-wife was telling me, well, they don't like him because he's not you. And I'm, okay, all right, that's not my fault. But then I realized, I met him, and I realized, and they told me some things he does and says, and my older stepdaughter also told me some things too, and I'm like, they don't like him because he's not me. They don't like him because he's a jerk.
Right.
So it's, you know, you have to set an example, and you have to show them what relationships are like.
Right.
That's not an easy task, because the bottom line is, when you have a failed marriage, it's hard to show them a positive relationship. I don't have a quality of living that co-parent exists for me, because we don't get along.
Okay.
And it's just something just it is what it is. But like he was touching bases with when you start dating and your kids have to, you know, deal with it. Like, I have the same situation. My boys don't deal with her husband.
Hold that thought. Like It Is, we'll be right back. Like It Is back, and we are here talking to 3 gentlemen about being single fathers. And so I want to start with Joel. Please, let's talk about what are some of the challenges that you've had to face in your single parenthood or being a single father.
So after our divorce from their mother, I fought for custody, and I ended up getting joint custody. That allowed me to have my own place, my own space away from their mother. I was able to not have to deal with some of the things I had to deal with currently in that house. What I realized that there was a challenge for me was that even though I had divorced their mother, I could not divorce them. So every feeling she had, every time she came up with something that I disagreed with, I could not separate that from my own children. They were 50% of their mother and they were 50% of me. I thought I was getting away from it, but instead the challenge was, how do you live with this? How do I recreate a better household? How do I create a better way to talk, a better way to process the same feelings I thought I was divorcing? Whereas in reality, I have to work with these for the rest of my life. So when you're in a relationship and you have a child by anyone, you are in a relationship, some kind, with that person for the rest of your natural life. And you're going to have to realize and work through that other person's personalities, pros, cons, issues, mentality for the rest of your life, because that's the only way to love your child.
So essentially, that forced you to learn something about yourself, and probably even forced you to grow. You had to, right? It challenged you.
It forced me also to become the father that I am. I was mentored by my own father, I was mentored by my uncle, I was mentored by my older brother, and I was taking pieces from everyone, but I realized because of the DNA, I had to father them the way I had to. So there were times when I have a son I can't raise my voice at because he just falls to pieces. You have another one that doesn't react to this, but then this one likes to keep talking, and this one does such and such. So it's always a different mixture. You keep thinking, well, they all come from me, but they all get separate pieces. So this one listens better, and this one has glasses, but I don't have glasses. So now I have to figure out, how does that feel when he doesn't have glasses? So you manage yourself, you process, which means it comes about, and you don't just react, you respond. I mean, you don't just respond sometimes, and you don't just go for it. Sometimes you have to think it through, because I can hang up on anyone. I can quit any job I wanted to. I can do so many different things, but I can't fail at this fatherhood thing.
Wow. John, what about you? How has this been challenging for you?
A whole lot of challenges. Where do you begin? I mean, the number one challenge is that you are a single parent, but balance is hard as a single parent, because you're everything. Being that you're everything, you have to be the nurturer, the discipline, the financial stability. Your kids are looking up to you. They don't have another outlet. You are the final word in your house. So you can discipline your child, but at the same time, you got to do it in a way that is nurturing so you don't lose them. Because if you're just a heavy all the time, it's really no balance. So that construct went from, I made that mistake with my oldest, and let's not make that mistake with the middle. Oh God, I made that mistake with the middle. can make that mistake with the baby. So it's a vicious cycle where you're always continually learning to face the reality of yourself as you watch them grow and how you balance this whole thing out. And the dating aspect, like I wasn't able to date when they were little. And now that I'm able to date, it's even worse because now they're like this. You know? They're like, who is she? You know what I mean?
Who's she? Well,
So
Dad,
it's kind of,
she kind of fine, Dad.
but it's kind of like, you know, a issue sometimes with the dating thing.
I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Joel?
I'm sorry, it was just funny. I was at a supermarket and this lady, I'm 6'2", this lady said, can you get the cereal for me? And my son just kind of just what we call blocked. Like he was like, I get that like for you. And I'm like, she needs some cereal. So
you're blocking, man. What are you doing?
Kenny,
Yes.
how has being a single father been challenging in your life?
I would say this. 'Cause during the break, I told you I have a son from another relationship. He's 27, and he's going to be a father this year. He called me up and he asked me a bunch of questions, and I said, "Look, man, being a parent is one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. Anybody you meet who tells you that they have the book on how to parent, stay away from them. They're crazy, because there's no manual on parenting. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. One of my biggest challenges, I mess up sometimes too. Everybody does. My biggest challenge is just maintaining and being that positive influence on my girl's life, and showing them that they have the inner strength because I showed them my inner strength. When I got divorced, I live in Jersey. Jersey is a very hard state to get married. Don't get married and divorced in Jersey. Don't do it. Don't do it. In Jersey, I lost practically everything. Everything. And I could never let my girls see me down from that. If I had to go off on my own and vent it out or something like that, my biggest challenge is being positive and showing them that you can't be defeated.
When you say you lost everything, you're referring to financially,
Oh yeah, everything.
assets,
Everything.
asset-based wise.
Everything.
Okay.
This is somebody else's shirt.
Okay.
Just joking.
Well, you didn't lose custody. You still have partial custody
yes,
of your
I
children.
do. I didn't lose their.
Right.
You know what? I didn't lose everything, because the one thing that I always have for my girls is the love.
Right.
So that's more important. You can take all that. You can take every last dime.
Love is more important.
The love of my girls.
John, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing to the problems, because I'm raising black boys. Right? And one of the things I fear when I don't hear from them, and it's like, I have a 19-year-old, he's basically grown, and I still don't know how to let go that way. So I'm worried, like, I hope a cop ain't kill him. I hope he ain't selling drugs. I hope he ain't get arrested. Something, it just makes you feel for him, because it's nothing to take lightly. 2 years ago, I lost a student. So it's nothing to take lightly. And just recently, in the school surrounding area that I live, teaching, a kid got shot on his porch. So this is the things we have to worry about: incarcerations, illegal searches,
absolutely,
locking up your boys. I worry about this. I worry about it because it's a problem in our society when their skin dictates crime.
Right.
Just because you're black, you did it.
Being that you are the primary caregiver for your children, are there times where there's like a void, I guess, if you want to say, among your children, where they the mother's presence is felt, or I'm sorry, the mother's absence is felt, and that even creates more of a challenge in being a father? Can you just kind of talk about that a little bit?
It's either way. Like when I was raised with my mom, the absence of my dad was a problem.
In what way? In
Because
what
I
kind?
wanted-
Give me
I wanted to
some
see- I wanted
examples
to
of some
see
situations.
I wanted to have a dad in the house. As a child, I wanted to have a dad and a mom. And it's the same for me right now. My kids want a dad and a mom. They want both. It takes two. It's not a one job.
Absolutely.
Is you're supposed to have the way y'all presented it to us as humans, every man has his own wife, every woman has her own husband. We screw that up. We messed that up with egos and stuff, and it destroys the kids.
Absolutely.
And they grow up and they have these complexes with you. I've had my kids challenge me on that. Like, yeah, well, you ran mom away. Wait, oh, excuse me? Like, you know, where you getting that from, you know? Or, you know, she's had it. She'll call me up and say, you know, such and such is being disrespectful, so on. So it's an issue either way. Both parents supposed to be there.
But you said something about having that balance, or I guess maybe sometimes even feeling pressure that you're to not be too stern, to push them away.
Right.
So in situations like that is what I mean of the mother's absence of, you know, giving that more gentle, nurturing, you know, love toward them. So
It's missed out. And it shouldn't be taken for granted.
Okay.
One thing that helps with that is honesty. I mean, we currently, I'm guessing, come from African American homes. Yeah, I think so. African Americans have been horrible with the truth with families. I mean, we still telling people that you're honest sleeping. It's called transition.
Come on, let's talk
we
about
don't
it.
have a good, we don't
Yeah,
do well.
no.
We shelter children. We've been taught to just shelter from all evil, from all worries.
Is the from as far as from the court, right? In the court, when is it even across the board when it comes to child support? So, you know, is it fair treatment?
I'm gonna tell you the difference.
You understand my question? Okay.
The difference in it. Pennsylvania is good for that. Philadelphia is impartial.
Okay.
I'm a witness to that.
Okay.
When I had to go down to Virginia, they was trying to lock me up because I missed a court date, and I'm the custodial parent.
Okay. So
It's a different system in America how child support works state to state,
Yeah,
and it's
it all
a different
depends on the state.
mentality.
right, because
Jersey is
because in
horrible.
the court
It all
system,
depends, 'cause
you know, the
Philadelphia will
mother
want
should be, the children should be with the mother. Is how they see it, right?
Yes, well, so
Okay.
first of
That's
all,
how
hold on.
Philadelphia see
Child support and custody are two
different
totally
things.
different
You don't go to the same
conversations.
court for
So
that.
if you're just talking about support, another issue, which I'm proud of him, is 72% of African American single fathers do not file for child support. 72% of African American single dads do not file.
Is that pride?
It is pride, it is ego, it is the fear of being looked at in the wrong way. It is the whole I got this, I'll do it myself. I don't need blame
Right.
from so and so, where
Right.
on the opposite side it is absolutely different. So we have to, it is not for me. The child support is not for
It's for the
me.
kids.
It is for the betterment of this household. It is for food, clothing, and shelter. So
See-
if you are helping
But-
to provide those things, get
Right.
that aid. So I would like, audience-wise, try to
Right.
reduce that number.
And I would tell that to all the guys who are watching, if you're raising your kids by yourself, don't be ashamed.
Don't be
Yeah,
ashamed.
Because
Just
you
go
need
ahead.
that help, and your babies need it more than you.
Powerful
I
message.
made a mistake of not doing that when my girls, when we first got divorced and separated, and my girls were with me 5-6 days a week. I made a mistake of not going back, and I was actually paying child support because she was supposed to have him half the time, and she didn't, and I never went back.
Like it is. We'll be right back. Like It Is back, and we have a comment.
First of all, I'd like to commend you guys, you gentlemen, because I didn't grow up with a father myself. So that's so awesome. I'd like to thank you guys for that. Secondly, you just took one of the questions out of my mouth. Did you go for help? Why or why not? The third question is, did you have family to help you? And the other question is for the gentleman who doesn't get along with a parent. Have you guys ever thought about mentoring, like having a referee or somebody?
Well, for me, I've had the kids since they were babies. So one paycheck ain't gonna cut it. So I don't have any pride. So I stood in those long welfare lines, and I filled out the welfare paperwork, getting the food stamps, getting the public assistance. And they're not, if you're a parent, they're not gonna deny you. So they're not turning men away. It's just like these guys were saying, pride. But I'm a God-fearing man, so I rely on faith. And if God tells me go get that, I'm gonna go get it. Absolutely. So I went down and I applied for the custody. And I wish I had a better relationship with my kid's mom. But the moment I went down and applied for child support, it ruined any rapport, any chance for us to build anything, because the money changed it all.
So part of that answer also, are there state resources? Yes, they are. Are males, our fathers, being gathered and given the information of where they are and how to do it? No. Is there a company or something that holds support classes for fathers? Yes, there's 2 in Philadelphia. Is there other resources where a male can find shelter in Philadelphia, which is the 5th largest state in the United States? Philadelphia is the 5th largest city in the United States. We have 2 shelters for men, and we're the 5th. So are these resources available?
Yes.
No. It has been called, and it is still called WIC. It is for women, infants, and children.
Like
and in
Heather started.
2020, they have not changed the name. So when you say, are there? Yes. Are there signs they say it's not for you? Yes. It says there are signs. It's WIC. It's not for you. There is maternal health care. There is no paternal health care.
To answer her question too about family, my parents were always there for me to talk to. When I was married, when I was married, my wife had previous children. My stepdaughter, who's older, really came up to plate to help me out a lot. She doesn't. I call her stepdaughter, but she's my daughter. She came out to the plate to help me out a lot, and a lot of times with a man raising 3 girls, she was able to help me with some things like telling me not to go to Walmart to buy the bra, but I was able to get, like, for the feminine things, I'm able to call her up for help.
Okay, good. Because you mentioned, this is the second time you mentioned that bra.
Yeah, I'm kind of tormented by that.
No, but I can tell that it's sensitive.
It's a sensitive issue for me.
I want to piggyback on something Joel was referring to about the entitlements for parents. And in my experience, on anything, I don't care. It took me 3 years to get benefits from my hearing from the military. If you're not consistent and persistent, and you're not driven to go get what you want, then you ain't gonna get it at all. So when I'm raising my kids, they came first. So if I had to take off of work and stand in the welfare line all day, I did it. Beautiful. And if I had to go to court and sacrifice the $70 to file, I sacrificed it. You know what I mean? So to me, it's all about you as a person. And it will show you, it would reflect as a parent who you are, the amount of sacrifices you would make for love.
Absolutely.
If you love you should love your kids.
Absolutely.
So if you love that strong, it doesn't matter if it doesn't say father or paternal. It matters that you're down there and you're applying for it, because it can't deny you.
We have another question or comment from our audience. What's your name and your comment?
My name is Deborah Kelly. I'm a retired teacher and a certified parenting educator, and I am an author of a parenting book. And I heard one of you say that anybody who writes a parenting book is, what, crazy?
I didn't say crazy. I said anybody who tells you, you understand me too fast.
You didn't know this was coming.
No, I said anybody who tells you they know everything about parenting, stay away from them because they're crazy. Because nobody knows everything about parenting.
I agree with that.
I never said anybody who writes a book. I said anybody who tells you they know everything. It's crazy.
Well, nobody knows everything about parenting, but there are some guidelines that I think we as African Americans should learn. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Exactly.
And we as African Americans, we need parenting skills. We need to learn more about parenting skills. I facilitated a workshop at the prison even yesterday. And the common denominator with most of the prisoners told me that when they were growing up, they didn't feel loved, they were abused, they were put out at 14. Parents did not know how to parent their children. We parent the way we were parented. And we as African Americans, the results that we were getting in the schools is not good. Our children are in trouble. We need to do something more.
I agree.
So, you know, by saying that we don't need parenting skills, that we don't need to read books on parenting, yes, we do need to read books on parenting, because we in the African American community, we're not getting it right. Not, you know, not in the percentage that we should. Our children are in trouble. They're filling the prisons with us every day. Our children are not graduating from high school. They're building prisons based on whether our children can read by the fourth grade. And whose responsibility is that?
The parents.
It's the parents' responsibility. And it's because we as parents don't know how to do it. So we need to go to those books. We need to learn. We need to grow. And we need to change what we're doing in the homes, because that's the biggest influence.
Right.
So parents, get those books and read about parenting skills. Read about the cause and effect of behavior, because it makes a difference. So that's what I wanted.
Well, if you don't mind sharing, what is the title of your book and how can someone get it?
It's called The Turnaround, Parenting Tips for Improving Your Child's Academic Success, How to Make Your Child Smarter, Learning Ready, and Nonviolent. And you can go to www.theturnaroundparentingskills.com. The book is only $15.
Thank you, Deborah.
Now, wait a minute now. I just want to say, John, Doctor,
All right, gentlemen.
I'm sorry.
I
just
want to make some comments.
And I just want to say, my son, getting ready for a shot, he did read a lot of books, and he did prepare himself. He watched a lot of videos. He read a lot of books. I was just saying to him in general that anybody who tells you they know everything about, because he was trying to get a full definition on how to parent. And I was trying to let him know that there is no full definition on how to parent.
So, gentlemen, I want to ask you, just piggybacking off of the last comment from our audience member, how have you taken the initiative to deal with your past traumas and how it can affect your parenting, you know, in the household?
So basically, for me, piggybacking on some of the things you said, because I'm an educator myself. I've been in the field 17 years. Love, nurturing. That's the kind of thing that we need in our community. Not people easy to overlook you. You can't learn that in a book. Rejection, it kills people. Rejection killed me as a child. In the classroom, in the neighborhood, on the football teams, and everything I've done. Rejection is a murderer, and a lot of our kids feel rejected. And the first place they can die from that is in their home. So if they feel rejected in their home, they're done. I teach now, and I have kids in the classroom that don't want to leave my classroom because the amount of love I pump out. And I do this for my sons primarily because I love me.
Well, parents can also learn to do that as well.
Right.
Yeah, but
They have to do that wholeheartedly if parents did that at home.
But see, here's the thing too. I'm sorry. Here's the thing too. When I was growing up, I had my mother and my father in the house, and I love my mom and love my mother and father, and they're still with me today. And I'm thankful for everything they've done for me and given to me. But it wasn't. We don't have the kind of relationship. We're always there for each other, but we don't have the kind of relationship where we openly say "I love you" to each other, my mother and father. And I kind of turned that around with raising my kids.
Exactly.
And my girls always like leave me, love you, Dad, love you. And my son, even him, you know, love you. And and I try to make it very close. And I try to get into what they want to do, their interest. You know, and show them love and support whatever they do.
Right.
And that's like Dr. John said, that's something you can't learn in a book. The love is in here. And the way we show our kids love, especially being single fathers, is going to be a special thing, because as single fathers, we feel like, I don't know about the other guys, I don't know if I'm talking for you guys, but we feel we have to give that extra love.
Joel is over here squirming and twitching.
I can feel it. I feel it. I got something to say. I got something to say.
Joel, you have a comment? Do you have a comment?
Absolutely. So I understand what we're saying. We're always talking about education. We talk about education. We're also talking about love. And one thing I had to take from the doctor is that now that you're a parent, there is no more ego. There is no more do. It's not about you. So, but we also have to go back. If we're talking about fatherhood, we have to go back. It wasn't until 1970 that some fathers were allowed in a hospital to see their children even being born. It wasn't until 1980 that all of the hospitals allowed all the fathers in to see children actually being born through the entire process. There was a disconnect of fathers till 1980. That was 40 years ago, which means, and that's not that long ago. So we have kept them at bay and said, we don't need you until 1980, and that was just the start of it. So maybe till 1990, really people started seeing even their child being born. I serve over 500 fathers a year, and I can look at you and talk to you for a minute and tell whether you saw your child being born or you didn't. Those are two totally different fathers.
So
two totally different experiences.
essentially really
So we had to
created a
start from
scar.
scratch. We had to start
Right?
from scratch. So
Got to start in the
the
womb.
Fathers Clubs that we have throughout the city help you sit down, talk to other people, help you talk about some of the services that are out there, some of the problems that you're having, because to be honest with you, in the United States, parent means mother, child so-and-so means mother, the form starts with mother, and then the mother is the mother, and then if you come, listen, brothers like me, him, and Brother Marcus, when I walk into a school to get my own child, I have to bring up certain IDs and, sir, how can I help you? And then a mother comes behind me and is, hey boo, what's going on? So we are just now getting to a point in 2020 where we're saying that two parents actually had a kid together and both of them should be raising them. So we're talking about equality for women, but for fatherhood, we're still in a slave age.
Just the acknowledgement.
I like the way he put that because the mentality is parent belongs to mother. Like I said, when we first initially started this segment, I said it's two. It's supposed to be that way.
Absolutely.
And to the absence of either one draws a bitterness with your child.
It's an imbalance.
I sit in the classroom all day long and I watch kids deteriorate because my mom said this to me or my dad did this to me and I got to stay the weekend with my the other parent don't want to go because they feel some type of way. Rejection kills. We need to learn to love more. We need to show more compassion to each other. That's just the nature of the beast. The more love you show, the better the reward. Like he said, he tells his
But
daughter,
how does a father?
sons, I love them every day.
That's beautiful.
And the reason why I do that, because I don't know if I'm gonna be there the next day or not.
But did you get it?
No, I didn't.
And that's
but I got it from my mom. I
Okay.
didn't get it from my father. But the number one thing for me was, I'm not gonna perpetuate that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in my boy's life.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna take that away from me. No angry ex-wife, no resentful girlfriend, baby mama, all that. I don't even use those terms. I don't say baby mama because it sounds ignorant. I said my ex-wife or my children's mother. I use the accurate terminology. I don't use all that hood stuff because that's the thing that murder our kids most. You competing with
Well, that's showing respect to her, and you giving that example for the kids.
But also in our classes, you cannot use your child's mother's name. You have to start a sentence off with the woman that I chose. So the woman I chose cut my car tires. A lot of this comes back to personal responsibility.
Right.
Also,
That's exactly
so
what
the
it
woman
does.
I chose is a fantastic mother, or the woman I chose, is locked up for 10 years. Some of this, because I had to take some of this. I can't. I would
Accountability.
love to be able to put everything on her, but no.
Takes two.
I am like 50-50 custody. She has half and I have half. When my half is my half, and there's a reason for all this, and part of that journey is learning why and be able to choose better, and choose better for my children as well. But we have to educate ourselves, which is why we constantly have to read, we constantly have to educate ourselves, and there can be no expectation as a father that you know it all, that you're just going to get it. There's no divinity to it. It is just you work in progress, but you got to learn.
I mean, I agree.
On that thought, hold that thought. We come back. We'll hear from another audience member. Like it is, we'll be right back. Like It Is back, and we have another comment, this time from a gentleman in our audience.
Well, for one thing, I was raised with both my mother and my father. And I remember my last beating. I was 19 years old because I disrespected my father. And he came downstairs with a belt, and I gave that look like, what you gonna do, hit me with that? I remember going over the coffee table, underneath the dining room table. Finally, when I got to the kitchen, I couldn't even lift my arm to block the blow. And then after that, I tried to run out the house. Dad caught me, and next morning, I don't even remember going to sleep. All I remember was waking up in the morning and Dad saying, look here, son, breakfast is on the table.
Right.
So then after that, pancakes, eggs, sausage, and this, that, and the other. And then he turned around and said, oh yeah, by the way, you might need these dark glasses to go to work today, all right? But it came down to the point because of my dad. I went to go take care of him and went to go get him at 91 years old. And it was nothing like having me and my dad together.
Amen.
And with that, to go ahead and be in position to do that is one of the biggest things you can possibly do.
Yep.
You know, so it was just the love.
Right.
And me,
The love.
when it came down to me, I taught. And I remember I had a class, all these kids been kicked out of every school in Camden. Then I brought some computers in for them to work with, and they went on the computers and come to find out all their dads were in jail. And they said it was the new norm, all right? So when it comes down to fatheringhood, brotherhood, family, it's all that. That's all I got to say.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
It seems like that's the key word of the day, love.
Love, absolutely. Love. We don't have enough of it.
Just that simple.
That's it. And we don't have enough of it because a lot of people are lacking it within.
I think we do.
You think so?
Yeah, I know we do.
Okay.
Because the world is still here.
It's still here, but it's corrupted and it ran by wicked people. So it takes people to show the light.
Yeah, but as
and the
much as
dark
that
hour.
grows, the good grows as much as the bad grows.
I don't want to reflect on biblical standards or, like you were saying, divinity, but when we think about it, this is what the world is about. This is what the world has done to us. It's made us feel like we have to fight for it. It made us feel like we don't have it anymore, but it's right in the center of your chest, like he was saying. It's love. I don't care what we say. At the end of the day, all the smoke has to settle and the dust clear. We do what we do out of love.
That's right.
I think
Let me ask this question. Let me ask you this question, gentlemen.
Love.
If there's a gentleman out here, a guy out here who is put in a position to be a single father, how could he go about getting custody? Please share some of the resources. Where should he go? Where's the first start for him to do what he needs to do as a father? So,
number one, give us a call at 610-579-DADS, DADS.
Could you repeat that again?
610-579-DADS, DADS. We do consulting at our office. We also do mediation. We also help fathers plan how the support is going to go. We talk about and consult on what the plan is for court is going to go. Family court has a totally different language than regular outside in the real world. They don't want to hear about certain people's mamas. They want to hear about the care that you give. So you need to the child. So you need to get away from just reacting, but just try to responding to certain things. You have to learn before you go. I always tell my dads, I said, listen, you received that letter a long time ago. You need to prepare for this. It's not something you just get on Wednesday and you walk into there or Tuesday. You need to know that you have equal rights to every single mother. It is not the way it used to be. You have equality and the rights are there for you too. And you need to do what you feel is best for your child. It's not about revenge. That never works. It's not about bitterness. It's about inclusion and making sure that child, your daughter, your son, has balance in their life. I see all my dads as the moon and I see all my mothers as the sun, and no vegetation can grow without one or the other. So they have to work together to actually make sure this vegetation and fruit in this world grows right.
You got to tell any man, like, it's not about being petty. It's not about going in and saying, oh, I'm gonna get these kids from her and I ain't gotta pay. It's not about that. It's about whatever good for the children.
Right.
We have another comment.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say that which one y'all think it's easier to raise, sons or daughters? Which one you think is easier and funner to raise? I have a nephew that's a single father, and he has a son and a daughter, and I never really thought to ask him that.
I'm going back and say sons are easier.
I would say sons
Boys
are
are
easier.
easier.
Sons are easy. I figured that.
I have,
Ooh, those girls are something else, huh?
Boys are easier.
I have 3 boys, but me personally, yes, I'm gonna go the other way with this. I'm going to say raising kids this day and age with dealing with the internet, dealing
It's
with
just hard.
all this stuff.
That's the
all
hard
of
part.
them are
Yes.
difficult. I
Yes.
don't think it's
Yes.
easy
Yes.
raising a girl versus a boy when you have those odds.
So we invented the daddy-daughter dance because my daughter was complaining that she wasn't getting as much time as my sons. And she's absolutely right, because my daughter makes me uncomfortable. My daughter does things I'm uncomfortable with, like gymnastics. I don't understand when you're supposed to clap. I don't know why they wear those clothes. I'm not accustomed to that. Like, there's just certain, I don't know why you want gloss, and all the glosses look the same to me. But my sons, my sons played, my sons played basketball. I know about that. I knew football, and I was comfortable with that. My daughter totally took me out of my comfort zone. My daughter's the one that also taught me how to be a romantic. When I say to me and my boys are going out around 8 o'clock, my boys are sometimes ready around 8. But when I tell my daughters we're going out on a date at 8 o'clock, she calls me at 7:30 talking about where are you at. Like, there were certain things in me that she brought out and made kind of whole. So for me, my sons were 10 times cheaper than my daughter. I could fill their drawer up with jeans. And
Sounds like your daughter made you level up a little bit more. Huh?
well, there's a pink shoe, then there's there's a fuchsia shoe, then because that one's champagne. Like, there's a lot going on. Like, where my son, you get 2 sneakers and
My girl's always telling me, Dad, you're not. I think I'm looking good when I walk out. No, Dad, don't.
They raise your level of.
I hear from women differently. I hear from women differently. Now here's the latter.
You mean as far as women raising
I hear
boys?
from women differently that it's more difficult raising a boy than it is from them raising their daughters, and it makes sense to me. It makes sense to what you're saying. Oh, it's easy for us to raise boys because we're men. But if you had to raise girls, it's going to be difficult. You can't relate. It's just like the same thing when I know single moms who raising their boys, and they call me, "What is going on?
Yeah.
How do I deal with this?"
Since the beginning of time, mothers have been raising their daughters, and mothers have been loving their sons since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time, fathers have been loving their daughters and have been raising their sons. It has not changed, and there is no plan on it ever changing. So we bring different things out of each other. We teach a class over at 100 Black Men on mothers raising sons, and just talk about the different dynamics of different ways you communicate, different ways you do things. Like, my sons don't have a priority on washing when they were 13. It just wasn't a priority to them. There's certain things we have to talk about, but again, nowadays, the world is 10 times I see, and because I'm reflective of so many parents coming before me with their children, and I see love so much that I know how great and how wonderful it is that they're just trying to figure out how to do it. And it seems so busy nowadays, but our kitchen table has changed. You can still have conversations at the kitchen table, but the kitchen table sometimes is at a restaurant, sometimes at a fast food restaurant, sometimes there's a lyric on the radio, you need to pull over and talk about that lyric right then. But the kitchen table is mobile now, but you still gotta pull people to the table and say, this is how I feel about this is how I feel about you. I told my son one time, their mother was in a hospital, and they didn't tell me. She was really, really sick, and she has been sick. And I called him up and I said, well, where you at? We're at the hospital. I said, I need you to let me know when your mother's in the hospital. He was like, are you sure? I said, she was my wife before she was your mother. So don't get it twisted. I mean, we may go back and forth. I still care.
Right. So, gentlemen, because we're wrapping, it's time for us to wrap up our show. What advice would you give to anyone, any man that is taking on, this project of being a single father, the fear there, because it's not something that you really can prepare for. It's like you're kind of just, you take it on and, without any time for that preparation. So let's.
First, I would like to say this. Single parenting sucks. Pretty much, it sucks. And if you are encouraged to want to go down to the courts and do all that stuff, that's on you. I hate the fact that I did it. I hate the fact that I got a divorce. I hate the fact I have to look at my kids that way. The bottom line is, if you can work it out, work it out. Marry your baby mom and go about your business. You only need one in the first place. Do what you got to do, but make sure your kids are happy. Because the bottom line is, if you know what it felt like to be raised in a single family, dysfunctional home, because that's what it is. It's a dysfunctional home. I don't care what anybody say. It's a dysfunctional home when there's only one parent. I have a dysfunctional home. And I don't like it. And I encourage everybody, show that love, stay with your family, raise your family, do what y'all want you to do best. Be a loving father, be a loving mother.
So, well, I'm real quick, have fun with this. This is so much fun. Having kids is so much fun. You get to be a kid all over again. I have children, so I get to live my life all over again. Have fun with this and trust yourself. As a man, as a father, trust yourself that this is a DNA thing. 50% of DNA is mom, 50% is dad. You're already halfway there. Mothers don't know more than fathers when it comes to a child, and fathers don't know more than mothers. We know how to love and we know how to nurture. Have fun with this. Trust yourself. Most likely her ice cream is your favorite. Most likely her game is going to be the favorite of yours. You can play your own music. She's going to enjoy that too. Trust that she comes out the womb and you halfway there.
Be honest, be yourself. Like Joe said, have fun with it. You know, raising kids is not always going to be easy, but it's not always going to be hard. And, you know, my girls and I, we laugh a lot. A whole lot.
That's that love.
Yeah, we laugh a whole lot.
Love.
And sometimes when I'm down, I think about that laughter that we have together. So I had a friend who said to me, like, man, when I see the Facebook page, I want to tell you, man, when I see the Facebook pages of you and your kids and you and your girls together, it makes you feel so good because every picture, you guys are always smiling. Like what's wrong with y'all? Like, I don't know. We're like always having fun doing something. But like Joe said, have fun with it. These are, you know, just do them the way. Just do right by your kids.
We would like to thank Mr. Joel Austin of Daddy University, Mr. Kenny Walker Jr., and Dr. John Taylor. The information discussed on the show can be found on the Like It Is Facebook page. Like It Is airs Saturdays at 5 p.m. on Comcast channels 66 and 966 and Verizon channels 29 and 30. Previous episodes can be viewed on the Like It Is YouTube channel. Now, from the Like It Is crew, our panel, our studio audience, we would like to thank you for watching today. Thank you. Have a great day.